for all of us. In 2019, working with then Vice President Brian Sheehan, he and I put together a committee, and we began to develop what was called at that time the North American Membership Initiative, NAMI. And the very first Build a Vision meeting ever held in the United States was held in my district. And the PowerPoint that is the basis that we're going to talk about tonight was a very crude PowerPoint that was put together here in Alabama, shared with Minnesota, who had the second Build a Vision meeting, and then polished off and made look pretty by our staff at Oak Brook. And we were so successful that then the world wanted it, and we changed the name to the Global Membership Approach. And you, as Vice District Governor-elects, Vice District Governors, have the opportunity to begin to plan for a very good year. You've already talked about building that team and how important having a team of people surrounding you that you can work with, that believes in you and always has your back. And once we have that team, then it's time for us to begin to build a vision. Because when our district comes together and has a vision of where we're going, and then we put together a solid plan and we communicate, then we can build the success that's necessary for us to find greater success. And there's great success across the area. And Mark Paiva has done a great job of working with everyone in that area to find great success, to build membership, to develop leaders, and to increase our service capacity. And so tonight we're going to talk about Build a Vision. As we talk about building a vision, then we're talking first of all about bringing folks together. And there's a few little things that need to be done to prepare for this Build a Vision meeting. A quality Build a Vision meeting will take 3 to 4 hours, because we want every Lion to feel as if they had an opportunity to have input in the plan, because we all know that when we have input into something, we take ownership of it, and when we take ownership of it, then we're ready to move forward. And so beforehand, go ahead and pick your date, and pick that date somewhere January, February. Use March to build a plan. April, May, and June, use that to begin to work alongside your district governor to implement your plan, and so that you leave this year on a very high note, because you've been working with your governor to finish up their plan, but you start out with greater momentum. And so January, February, we're holding our Build a Vision meeting. We're going to select a site where we can have tables where the 4 to 6 Lions can sit at each table. It's so important that we have those individual tables, because we need some table time, some table discussions. The other thing that we need to do is we need to get some of the butcher paper and some tape where we can tape all the ideas up around the room so that we can validate every idea that is put forth. The other thing that we need to do is find a facilitator, someone who is dynamic, that can bounce off the crowd, can ask questions, engage everyone, and help us to get where we're going. You, as the district governor-elect, and your vice district governors have one role that day, and that is to take notes, to say very little, and to do a lot of listening, because leaders listen and help the group to develop a vision. Because if we work their vision, it's much easier for us as a leader than if we're trying to get them to work our vision. And so during this 3 to 4 hours, we're going to let them develop a vision, and we're going to embrace their vision, and we're going to move on, and we're going to lead them toward greater success. Also, at some point in time, we're going to have a meal in there, unless you go from 1 to 5 and they've eaten just before they got there. Everybody likes a mealtime. And what I've found, that there's more learning in the hallways and during lunchtime than there is ever during a meeting. And so I like to make the Build a Vision around a Subway sandwich break, or In-N-Out burger break, or whatever you want to do, just so that folks have an opportunity to sit there. What we found as we had our first Build a Vision is when we got to lunch and we had some ideas exchanged, people were walking and saying, you mentioned such and such. Can you explain to me about that? I didn't quite understand that. And they're helping everyone to refine what is being said. They're great, having great understanding. And then as the conversations continued after lunch, there was that bonding that had already taken place over a common meal. And so that's the pre-planning. The other thing is you need to go through the PowerPoint and fill in your 5-year averages that you can get from lionsclubs.org and go to the My LCI and download your 5-year average on members brought in, members dropped, clubs started, service provided, so that you have that information for everyone to share, because an informed audience, informed participants will in fact help us to have an informed vision and a goal. Having said that, then we're going to talk about building that district vision. We're going to talk about how it aligns with Mission 1.5 targets, and then we're going to talk about what the next steps. As everyone gathers to build, you've already built your team, build a vision, build a plan, build success. Who do you invite to this Build a Vision meeting? I'm going to tell you that you invite every line that has an email address. We can't afford to send individual invitations by mail, but we can afford to use Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever communication system you use to invite every lion to be there. And if you can make it personalized with your platform like Constant Contact, we sent out in 2019 emails that says, Lion Jerome, you are so valuable to the Moulton Lions Club, and your service has helped your club to be one of the premier clubs in our district. Will you take a few hours on Saturday, February the 2nd, to assist us on building a vision for a better tomorrow for our district? Your input is valued, appreciated, and much needed. Please RSVP at the email below to let us know that you'll be there. We had people show up that had never been to a meeting before. As a matter of fact, we had some that didn't know how to RSVP. They just showed up at the door and we embraced them. And one club in our district, who I don't think anyone from that club had ever left their city limits. If you asked them were there lions outside their city limits, they probably didn't know. They just knew that they had lions in their little town, and there was about 16 of them, and they were doing great work. But this fellow shows up, and I introduced myself because I thought I knew everyone in the district. He says, I'm the president of XYZ Club. And I said, well, we're so proud you're here. And he says, I got a personal invitation that said that I was important to my club, and I was needed today to be important to my district. And I wanted to be here to help. He didn't know we'd sent 1,300 out just like that. But he showed up, and he had some of the best ideas and perspectives from a small club, and it was really helpful. Our immediate past council chair tells me that she too got one of those emails, and she thought that she was the only one in her club that got one of those emails. And she come to represent her club because she hadn't talked to anyone and didn't know everyone else had gotten one. And from that, as she was sitting there, she'd never been a zone chair. She had not been any idea about what a district governor did, but she got so excited after the meeting. She says, how do I be a zone chair next year? I need to get in line to be the district governor. And so she worked herself through the chairs, and she's now served as our council chair. A fantastic lion who will probably be the next candidate for international director from Alabama. Why? Because we sent her a personalized email. I'm going to encourage you to send a personalized email, bragging on everyone, bringing them in. And if you invite 1,200 people, you're going to have about 35 to 45 lions that show up. And that's great, because those are going to be your lion leaders that are going to help you to have a successful year. And so when they all come together, we give them time to visit, where they all get name tags. We sit them so that they're not sitting with anyone from their own club at all these different tables. And then we're ready to begin. As we begin, the first thing that we're going to talk about, and this PowerPoint is available at lionsclubs.org/global, or if you Google Global Membership Approach or Mission 1.5, they're all going to be there. And all those sites are going to take you to this PowerPoint. And we're going to begin to welcome everybody. And then we're going to talk about expectations. And I'm not going to go through every question and explain it in detail, but these first questions are so important, because this is getting everyone comfortable in just talking. We're going to ask the question. We're going to have table discussion. And then we're going to let each table report out. We're going to have Scrivener who's going to take and write down every idea because every idea is important. And so what do Lions Club's officers expect from their district governor team? We talk at the table, we report out from that, we list all the ideas, and when we finish that question, we put those answers on the wall. This is how that you as a district governor-elect is going to be successful during the year. You're going to look at the expectations. If they expect better communication, by George, we're going to be the best communicator ever. If they expect district governor teams to help with service projects, we're going to help with service projects at every club. If they expect that zone meetings should be centrally located and not in the far ends of the district, we're going to make them centrally located. Whatever our Lion leaders, the visionaries that are gathered there today say, we're going to buy into. That's going to show them how much we appreciate their ideas and how much we value them as Lions. Because then, as we continue through the year, we can go back to these visionaries and ask things of them that align with what they've said, and they'll see that we've committed and they will have committed, and it's going to make our year better. What do Lions and club officers expect from the zone chairs? Of all of the times that I've facilitated a Build a Vision meeting, someone always asks, what's the zone chair? Because there's either a new Lion in the crowd that doesn't know a zone chair, there's a club that is so disconnected that they have not seen a zone chair forever, and they ask. And so it gives us an opportunity to educate. The zone chairs are mini district governors for 4 to 6 clubs, that they're your resource and your link to the district governor and to Lions Clubs International. They're the person who can assist you. And what do we expect of them? Basically, we expect the same thing that we expect from district governors. We expect communication. We expect visits. We expect help with service projects. We expect to be able to be a resource to solve problems. And everyone begins to tell us those things, and we're writing them down. And now, how many of you as district governor-elects have some clubs that are a little bit underperforming? And we have a challenge because as leaders, when we go in, we really need to brag on these clubs. We need to build them up, because if we just beat them down, they're not going to do any better. They're just going to say, we don't even have to have a Lions emblem. We can do what we do without the Lions emblem, take it and run away with it. And so this third question is most important. What do we expect of Lions clubs? We're having the table discussion, and then we're going to take and put it on the wall. And on those tables, we're going to have the applications for the Club Excellence Award. We're going to plant some seeds for our visionaries and tell them there's a Club Excellence Award criteria there too, if you'd like to look at it, as you decide what we should expect of Lions clubs. And then when I go in as a district governor and I'm speaking to every club, I say, we had that Build a Vision meeting and we had 45 visionaries across the district come together. They told me that as a district governor, they expected me to do 1, 2, 3, and I'm striving real hard to do that. And we asked them, what do we expect of Lions clubs? And the visionaries have said that these are the top 5 criteria of Lions clubs. And you need to do some self-evaluation after I leave and decide, are you hitting the mark or do you need to improve? And if you need to improve, give me a call. I'm going to come back, or get your zone chairman to come back, and we're going to help you to be the best you can be, because together we're all working together and the world's a better place. And this is what visionaries said that a good club does. They report their service on a regular basis. They're attracting new members, 3 to 4 a year. They're making a contribution to LCIF. Whatever that your visionaries say, you just share it with them. And then nobody can fuss at you for being down on them. You've just told them what the visionaries said about what an excellent club is doing and left them with the Club Excellence Award. Because if we had every club in our district achieve the Club Excellence Award, we would be outstanding districts across the United States and around the world, wouldn't we? And so we've taken, with these 3 questions, probably about 30 minutes. By the time we had our table discussion for 4 to 5 minutes, we had a report out, and we introduced the next question. After we get to expectations, then we begin to cast this vision for the future. 5 years from now, if a former member called to inquire about your club, what would you like to tell them about changes for the better that have been made, and how have those changes been shared across the district? And everybody goes, wow. Don't go to the table discussions. Just let folks start talking. and sharing, and spend about 15 minutes here. And someone's going to say, I'd like to tell them that our club grew from 12 members to 25 members. That's doable. You think we can do that over the next 5 years? That's only about a +3 every year for the next 5 years. Someone else says, I'd like them to tell them that we quit some of our old service projects and we started some new ones because there's new needs in the community. What are those needs? Tell us about those needs, and get everyone talking and bragging about their club and having a greater vision for the club. And when that happens, then everyone is sharing, everybody's learning, and they're going back to their clubs excited about what that vision looks like. And we have a new process, the global membership approach for clubs, this whole process has been boiled down to something that can be handled in one club meeting, where the clubs are asked simple questions. What do we do well? What can we improve upon? What would you like to see us accomplish in the next 12 months and in the next 24 months? And the clubs begin to set goals. They begin to evaluate what they do well. They build upon that. They build upon their weaknesses and realize we're going to have to solve a few things. This future vision of the future is so important. Our build a vision meeting and let those ideas flow, because as they flow, we're all learning together. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Henry Ford said that. Now, our is he still immediate? Immediate past president, Brian Sheehan, thinks that he invented that saying, but he didn't. Henry Ford said it first. Lion Brian just says it often. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And that is so true. It's time that we as Lions and Lions International reinvent ourselves, and we tinker with some of the things we've done. Hold on to the traditions that are so important, but let go of those that are holding us back or hindering us from bringing in the next generation of leaders, the next generation of servants. And so then we're going to move into our goal setting function. And it's going to align with Mission 1.5. We've sort of taken a break after we've had that visionary. Everybody's talking, and we've filled in our blanks here. District members this year, we've got 1,250. Last year, we had 1,225. 3 years retention of new members, we've retained about 85% of ours, or whatever the numbers are. And you find all that at MyLCI and you plug them in. And then we begin the table discussion. Are we happy with where we are with membership? Does every club have enough members to serve effectively and efficiently? Can we do better? What changes are needed to help us to be the best we can be? And let them have that table discussion. 5 to 8 minutes. Bring them back together. Are we happy where we are? And that's just a hand vote. How many of us are happy where we are? How many things we could do better? Great. What do we need to do better? And it's time for us to report out by tables what everyone is saying and what the consensus has been and what changes are needed for us to help us to be the best we can be. As we do that, we're going to listen, and we're going to find out that some clubs don't know how to have a membership growth event. We're going to find out that some have been trying to just have everybody invite somebody, but they didn't really know how to invite somebody. And we need our GLT in our district to teach Membership Growth Event 101, Membership Recruiting 101, Marketing 101. How many times do we shoot ourselves in our own foot when we put something on social media because we put something up that should never have been up there? We only had 6 members at our meeting last night, and we have 60 members. Where were the other 54 of you? Y'all have seen it on social media because Lions do that. That's not helping us. So we need to teach Lions how to communicate and to communicate properly, and where to communicate and where not to communicate. And so we're going to learn from that, and we're going to begin to set some goals from that. Recognizing the truth about ourselves is the starting point of all change. And so When we talk about mission 1.5, we've got new clubs, new members, membership satisfaction, and leader support. Each of these focus areas we've got to do an excellent job in order to achieve our goal of 1.5 million members around the world, serving 1.5 billion members around the world. And it's going to take a focus, it's going to take accountability. And when we step up to the platform as district governors-elect and we ask folks to step up as chairman of committees in our district and as zone chairs, no longer can we say we're a volunteer organization and we can't make them do anything. We can't make them do anything, but we sure can replace them with somebody who wants to do something. And we've got to understand that we as district governors, when we agreed to be a district governor, agreed to serve at a higher level. And that service at a higher level means that we have to hold ourselves accountable. And those that we've selected to be on our team, we have to hold accountable. Because when we do that, then in fact, we are going to have an excellent district that is hitting our goals. Mission 1.5, Focus Area 1, rejuvenating districts with new clubs. Table discussion. Why are new clubs valuable? Some people in your room will have never thought about even whether or not we should start a new club. Where can we start new clubs? And let them know that to start a new club, we really need to have a center of influence, someone who's influential in that community or knows people in that community. That's very difficult to just parachute into a small town and start a club. But when you go there with a lion who maybe lived there before or grew up in that community before or was the superintendent of education in that area, then it's much easier. And talk about specialty clubs and which of those would be most successful and what training or resources are needed. Table talk, bring them back together. This process is probably going to take somewhere to 20 to 30 minutes for table talk for about 5 to 8, and then reporting back out. And so they're going to talk and tell you why clubs are valuable, and you're going to make those notes because as you're out talking, you're going to say the visionaries, when we come together, says that new clubs are valuable because 1, 2, 3, 4. And that they think that there's some specialty club opportunities in our community, maybe veterans or quilting clubs or people that are coming together to be boosters for athletic programs. And then this is the training that they believe that they need. New Club 101. They need to talk about orientation for new clubs, how to train new club officers for charter clubs. And when you finish all that, the next question is, our district commits to the membership growth targets established, or our team will charter an additional blank new clubs with at least 20 charter members. And so you've got your Mission 1.5 goals that have been suggested to you by Lions Clubs International as a minimum. I'm going to tell you, out on the West Coast, y'all do such a great job. And that minimum is just the minimum. Y'all can go over and beyond that, but let your visionaries decide that. They may decide we're going to start with the 2 that we've been asked to charter, but then we'll have a stretch goal of 3 or 4. That's fine. Whatever they say, we're going to embrace, because we are beginning to train our Lions to think outside the box, to come together as a team, to have fun putting things together, and to have a vision for a greater tomorrow. When we finish Focus Area 1, we're going to Focus Area 2, revitalizing clubs with new members. Why invite people to join our club? What's the best way for a club to add new members? Does your club host a membership growth event? How do they do that and how often? Are you familiar with, this is my question, that's not on here, but are you familiar with the membership growth event toolbox that's available at lionsclubs.org? It's a 6-week planning guide for clubs to follow with a step-by-step plan of action to get them from we need new members to hosting an event where that we will have new members. And when we send out 100 letters and we follow up and ask, are you going to be able to be there? And the scripts to even follow up and ask is in that toolbox. Then we'll have about 16 folks that say, yes, they're coming. About 12 will show up because you always got about 4 that they just don't tell the truth. But out of that 12, we'll be able to enlist as volunteers in our clubs anywhere from 3 to 6 members. And those that don't sign up that night, within the next week, you go out and you listen and say, did you enjoy the evening? Was there questions that we failed to answer? What could we do better? And you're going to have some of them say, oh, I just want to go home and think about it. And I've decided I want to join. And you give them that membership application again. What training or assistance is needed? And that is a very important question too, because your visionaries are beginning to tell your GLT what they need to do to train. And with Zoom, we can have Zoom district training once a month if we want to on different topics that are identified by your Build a Vision meeting. And then our district commits to the membership growth target established, or our club will induct an additional members into the existing clubs. This is a powerful discussion here, 20 to 30 minutes as well. And then we're going to go to remotivating members with fellowship and exciting service. How do you know when a line is engaged? Why is a new member orientation important? How do service projects help retain members? And how can we re-engage members who have stopped participating in club activities? We got table talk. We got reporting it out. We're recording every last idea. Our district governor team for next year is listening intently because they're hearing the excitement build in the room. They're beginning to understand that the Lions there really want to serve. They really want to grow. They really want to embrace the vision of a better tomorrow. And our job as a district leader has become so much simpler because they are running with the ball and we're just trying to stay ahead of them, to keep everything organized, to make sure that everything, all the tools they need are laid out. Our district committee commits to the membership growth target established. Our district will increase our net gain target by however many members. It's almost the same goal as you had in focus area 2. This time you're working on retaining members. The other one you were bringing them in. This time we're closing the back door. And when we've done both of those, then we are going to be successful in our year as a district governor. And finally, support district and club leaders. What programs, seminars, or training should be offered to club officers? Let them talk about it, let them tell you, and then we're going to offer it. What's the best format to deliver training? You like Zoom meetings, you like in-person meetings. You like weekend retreats? Whatever they say, we're going to take note of. If the district hosted a Lions Leadership Institute, who should attend? And what other types of support can we provide to our leaders? Because this is going to let all of our visionaries know that we're there to support them in their journey to greater service, their journey to greater leadership, their journey to greater success. As we continue to bring this together, if I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination, you, as a district governor-elect, have the responsibility to adjust the sails, to make sure that the group is moving in the right direction. They've told you where they want to go. You just have to make sure that you herd those cats in a positive direction. And so, in order to do that, the path to district improvement, we've got to leverage our strengths, manage our weaknesses, take advantage of our opportunities, and minimize the impact of our threats. And we're going to begin to talk about that. We're going to have a break because we have our goals set, but we now need to know what our strengths, what our weaknesses, our opportunities and threats. And so you're going to ask, table talk for 5 minutes, report it back out, put it up there. What exists or is currently being done well? What do we as a district do well? What exists or is currently done that we can improve upon? What's our weaknesses? And you're going to hear things like communication. You're going to hear things like the distance across your districts. You're going to hear about the traffic jams. You're going to hear about apathy and whatever they say, it's all important. And we're going to record it. what opportunities are out there to expand our service impact by engaging more volunteers? How can we go into a factory and start a club inside a plant? How can we go into a community and start a club? How can we engage the parents of the soccer players in the youth league? How can we engage the parents of the high school or members of the booster clubs? All those are opportunities. And of course, there's some threats out there too. Your visionaries are going to talk about those threats. They're going to report those threats to you. And we're going to keep an eye out for those threats because we're going to avoid those to the best of our ability. As we continue, in order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. And so everyone is so excited because this is going to be one of the first times that many of the folks that are there have had an opportunity to have a positive impact in your district and setting the tone for service, membership, and leadership growth. They're going to be so excited. Collaboration is the key. Everyone needs to be involved in a global membership approach. Your international directors, your past presidents, your past directors, your past district governors, your global action team, all of your multiple district chairs, your district chairs, your zone chairs, your clubs, everyone needs to be invited and participate because the wider the variety of experience and knowledge, the wider the variety of input that we're going to have as we move forward. Toward the end of that meeting, too, I like to have a 3x5 card and pass it out and ask everyone to write down their name, their address, their email address, their phone number, and then write, I am passionate about new clubs, new members, new service, or leadership development. Because when you have done that and they pass them all back in and you sort them out, you already have your committees that are going to build the plans for new clubs, build the plan for new members, build the plan for new service, and build the plan for greater leadership development. And then it takes the burden off of you as a district governor-elect. All you have to do is Zoom with each of the groups and help them to build a plan for the next 12 months of how we're going to find success in each of those areas. And so once we've got everyone in place, we've got everybody planned out to begin to build that plan. And next time someone will talk with you about how to build those plans, we're going to communicate the SWOT results to clubs and district cabinet. We're going to take notes, the question and all the answers, the question, all the answers. We're going to send back out to everyone that has an email so that they feel a part of it, and ask them once you review this, if you have additional comments or thoughts, email them to me. We'll add them to the list. We're going to have it reviewed by our council chairperson and our global action team at the multiple district level so that they too can have some input and help us, and complete the course on action planning to achieve district goals and succession planning at the Lions Learn Center. Write an action plan for each membership and growth target established and mobilize for plan implementations and goal achievements. Between now and between the time that you hold your Build a Vision meeting, January, February, and March, when you have your plans finalized, you're going to take and communicate. They're going to be reviewed, and you're going to complete that course as soon as you can. Then you're going to write those action plans in March, and then you're going to begin to communicate them in April, May, and June. You're going to finish strong. You're going to start stronger. You're going to have the momentum to have a great and successful year. I'm going to close my screen so I can see everyone again. I'm going to ask for questions, comments, and concerns. I'm so excited to be here tonight. Mark, thank you very much for allowing me to present.
You are most welcome, Jerome. And if I could step in for 1 second, I'd like to tag one person who might be able to add some validity to something you said. Scott Quinlan, are you there? Well, I'm going to add validity to what you said. Scotty Quinlan is a DGE, and he went to a vision meeting, SWAT meeting that we held in 4L4. He was so moved by what he saw, he decided to throw his hat in the ring for second vice district governor. When Jerome says you can find your team members through doing this process, he's absolutely true. And you need to look at all the members that show up, and don't be afraid that you invited 1,200 members. You're only going to get 40 to 50. It's just the law of averages. But I just wanted to tell Scotty's story because it fits so well with what you talked about, Jerome.
I will reiterate that too, because when we finished our first Build a Vision meeting, we adjourned. Folks were sitting around for 30 minutes afterwards talking, and there was about 5 people there who began to talk about how they wanted to be the district governor. And they called me over and said, what does it take to be the district governor? So I talked to them about being club president and zone chair, and then moving through the ranks and becoming the district governor. And they were all at different spots in their career. And we had some that needed to be elected president of their club, and we had some that was ready to be zone chairman. These 5 lined themselves up. And for 5 years, we did not have to worry about having a second vice district governor candidate. And still that continues because we have our Build a Vision meeting, and people continue to get in the back of that line and just know where that they're going to be as they move through.
Okay. Scotty just said he couldn't unmute. Sorry about that, Scotty. Does anyone have any questions for Jerome? He gave you a pretty good rundown on a process. Have any of you participated in a vision meeting? You have, Candy? Is it Candy? You're on mute.
It's Cindy.
Cindy, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I've done several of them. They're very beneficial, especially when you write them all and you put them on the brown paper and you stick them around. It gives people a chance to look at them and to evaluate how they think about them.
And it's important to brag a little bit on that 404 one that they did. They discovered that there was a great need for training. We can all talk about it, but when the club members tell you we want to be trained, it turned L4 to looking at how they can improve their GLT. And that's one of the things that they did. How are you folks coming along in forming your team? So good that you don't want to tell me?
Mark, I'll talk.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I kind of going along with what you said about what I participated last year in ours with our district governor. And I think that the biggest thing that I got out of it is that I think the follow-up is what's really important. Not just having the meeting is one thing. And it was great having all those people together in one room and realizing, what our strengths and weaknesses are and where we need to move forward. But I think the follow-up is what's really, really the key to that.
And I'm going to say one thing about follow-up, Alan, and that's one thing that 404, and you can forgive me, Scotty, didn't do a strong enough effort in. People want to know what they did at that meeting.
Right.
They want to know the results of all the work they did. They spent 3-4 hours. So the follow-up is very critical.
And I do have a question for Jerome, which is maybe a little bit off the subject, and maybe pertains a little bit to our district, and may pertain to other districts as well. But do you feel it's healthy to have to actually have people running against each other for different offices, as opposed to just having one person in succession? I find it not healthy. In other words, having 2 people, competing for a second vice district governor position, as opposed to just having one running and then the next person succeeding them in line.
That's a very good question. And in my district, we've never had it's been years since we've had the problem, like decades, of two folks wanting to run for second vice district governor. We were just so proud to have folks lined up one at a time. It's important that if you have to, that whoever is not elected still has a place in that cabinet and an opportunity to serve in a very visible manner, and that the candidates know that whoever is elected is going to embrace and be embraced, and that it's not competitive. We have a job to do. We just have two people who both think that they're capable of serving. And once that decision's made, we're going to respect it, and we're going to come together, and we're going to serve together and work together and encourage one another. Sometimes we let our egos get in the way, and we refuse to participate if we're not the winner. And this is so much, our Lions Club, so much more important than winning or losing a race for second vice district governor. It's the people who are silently crying each evening, needing assistance and help, that we must focus upon. And so the one who is not successful needs to have a very key role in the administration of the successful one.
Thank you.
I'd like to point out a little key gem that Jerome mentioned that you might have just passed by. He talked about having everybody fill out an index card with their name, their address, their email address, and their basic contact information. And then he asked them to write down what their passion was. If you folks are having problems forming your teams of committees, etc., that is an excellent way to find people that are interested and passionate about a topic to form a committee around. And I think that's something that you should consider doing at more than just this meeting, but anytime you get an opportunity to talk to your general membership, try the card approach. Ask them what their passion is. Get them to tell you how they want to lead.
You could take all your committees that you have and list them and have it typed out on a piece of paper, and at your next cabinet meeting, pass it out to everyone that's there and ask them to fill it out and tell you where they'd like to serve during your year. Everyone won't do it, but if 4 or 5 did it, that makes your job a whole lot easier. If 15 or 20 did it, you'd almost have all of your slots filled. And so it's just a matter of asking, because people really do enjoy volunteering.
Tammy, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I had a question for Jerome. So the letters that you had sent out, or the emails that you were talking about, what's the time frame from when you sent those or gathered all the material as to when you sent it, and then the time that you actually had the meeting?
We sent out about a month ahead of time, and then we had a follow-up about 2 weeks ahead of time just to remind. And then for those that are RSVP'd, we sent them, if the meeting was on Saturday, about Tuesday, Wednesday of that week, we sent them the final reminder telling them that we have finalized our head count and we're counting on you, and we've ordered sandwiches, or we've ordered lunch for everyone, and found a reason to remind them.
Okay, and one other question with that as well. At the beginning, you said that I don't know how you got the actual list of people, but you said go find the list that shows how many people, or shows the most members that people brought in, or maybe I heard that wrong.
It's yes and no. You can download all the members and their email addresses currently at my LCI, so for your invitations. And then my LCI uh, when you log on, you can go to the parent directory and go to 5-year trends and download all your 5-year trend information. There's also reports in there about who has membership keys and things of that nature, if you're interested in that information. But generally speaking, for the Build a Vision, I get the 5-year trends, and I download all of the email addresses for everyone in the district for the invitations. And Mark is right there at the bottom of my screen, but he can also assist you in finding that information and getting it to you and walking you through it. Am I correct, Mark?
That is absolutely correct. That's what we're here to do. And one of the things on that note, don't be afraid to go to My LCI and walk through all the reports. You're going to find a treasure trove of information that you're going to say, I hope I remember where this is now that I found it. But it's really worthwhile to check out, and just take your time and do a couple of links a day, 15 minutes, and you're going to be amazed at what you'll find and how that'll help you as a governor. Cherie?
Yes, I got a quick question, and it may not be something that could be answered today, but as we move to the new portal, what they put out at the USA Canada Forum is that we will no longer have access to personal information like contact information, birthdays, that kind of thing. Once we go to the new portal, it's going to be protected. So is LCI going to submit something or send something out that helps us figure out how to do that? Because the timing of doing this for those of us that are first vice district governors, it's after the first of the year. In January is when they're talking about pushing the new portal out, which is going to inhibit our ability to pull down those contact lists out of My LCI so that we can do the mailings and whatnot that you're talking about.
I don't know what the new portal will or won't do, because I'm not sure that anyone in Oak Brook does.
Okay.
However, I would tell you today, tomorrow, download all your members. The only ones that you would miss would be the few that are added between now and the end of the year anyway. And so go ahead and download that and have it at least something to work with. There's some bugs and there's some opportunities and some questions that will need to be answered by Oak Brook at some point in time concerning balancing confidentiality with helping district governor teams do the job they want us to do. And I don't know that answer. I wished I did.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? One of the things that we try to do in this session is to give you practical advice that you can actually take and do something with. And so I hope we achieve that objective today. If you folks don't have any additional questions, we're going to do another session in, I believe, January or February. I'd have to go back and look on Build a Plan. So this should come right in line with everything you're doing. And what you're learning at the DGE school, you now take this and you put the two together and you work it as a plan. And one thing I really want to see you folks do is work your teams. Understand all the teams that you have to communicate with and start building relationships now with your teams. Most importantly, you're first and you're second. Make sure that part of your team and that you communicate with them. Because if you're not being communicated now by your governor, you know how it feels. So just put into your plan a communication plan for how you're going to deal with your first and your seconds and all your committee chairs. Jerome, do you have any last words? And we'll call it a night.
I don't, but in the Build a Success session, there'll be times on how to build out a communication plan. And so thank you very much for allowing me to be part of your group this evening. And if I can help in any way, please reach out to me.
Thank you very much. And if no one has any other comments, have a great Sunday and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jerome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
holidays.